my skin so gorgeous. We thank the life gorgeous. Thank the life gorgeous. I love the life gorgeous. Its torso is so tight.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Life Gorgeous. My name is Craigers. This is where I share my magical life in hopes of improving your life. The focus groups have spoken. They like when I have my friends on, especially my opinionated friends. We're going to cover some big topics today. Please welcome back my old friend, Hank Perlman, the Pearl Man.
Hi, Craig.
You're in New York City, correct?
Yes, Chelsea,
and just so the people know, Hank has his own production company called Hungry Man. They shoot commercials, big national commercials, Super Bowl commercials, and he's very successful. He likes New York City. He also likes hockey. I don't know. We're going to get to that later. Hank, this is where I want to start. How long have we known each other and how did we meet?
Oh, good. I was hoping you were going to ask that. Well, we met, I'm going to say, in 1994. So that is almost 30 years ago. Not quite.
Right.
But we've almost known each other 30 years.
Wow.
I think I was working at the advertising agency that was working on ESPN, and I was doing a radio campaign.
This is Wyden and Kennedy, and you were living in Portland, Oregon.
And you were living in Hartford, Connecticut.
Right.
And we needed a VO for a radio hockey campaign.
For ESPN, right.
For ESPN. I wanted to use you, and you were very kind and generous. You were like, I'm not the hockey guy. I'm the NBA guy. You should ask Steve Levy to do this. And I'm like, no, I don't want Steve. No offense to Steve Levy. Love Steve Levy.
We'll cut that out. I'm just kidding. No, you're a nice guy. And what was it? I mean, now I'm kind of like asking to be complimented. I was the funny guy or what? You thought I was funny?
Yeah. Back then you were on the 2 a.m. show or the 2:30 a.m. You were on the late night, but that's the one we got in Portland because, we're 3 hours behind. And so, and you were, I think they were allowing you to experiment and express yourself and be creative. And it was refreshing. And, all the guys were great, including Steve Levy and all the guys who did hockey and everything. But there was something about you. Let's just say you had a certain twinkle in your eye.
We might have to call Steve Levy right now just to clear the air. I mean, also, look in the camera. He does a great job.
Still doing a great job.
Right. Look in the camera as we do. There, look like that. That looks better, like you're talking to me. Yeah.
Sorry, I was talking to the microphone.
That's okay. But you sound great. And you're one of the guests that I like because you have such a great microphone. So Hank, we met back in the 90s and you wanted me to do the hockey voiceover. And then you did this Sports Center campaign, which is legendary, where you'd bring the athletes into Bristol and act like they hang out in the break room, Grant Hill and Gordie Howe and all these guys. It was brilliant. I think it won awards. And you used me a lot because you thought I was funny.
Yeah, I think we got in a little bit of trouble for that. We used you so much that didn't Keith Olbermann in a meeting after they played all the spots say, so when are the Craig Kilborn action figures coming out?
Well, you have excellent taste in comedy because you're a very funny guy yourself. And did the Yamame make it on the air? I don't remember. And tell us what that commercial was.
Yamame. Yeah, Yamame. I think it did. It ran briefly. Let's just say you couldn't do that commercial in 2023. It was you. We were kind of verite behind the scenes, kind of the camera was kind of observing you late at night because you do the 2:30 show and 2:30 a.m. show. Maybe it was even set up by sometimes it gets boring around here when you have to do the 2:30 a.m. show, but we were finding you on the phone to we assume maybe a young lady, maybe an older lady. We don't know.
What did I say? I was whispering.
You were like, yeah, national television. I'm on national TV, and just here at the here at the big network and here at the studio, I go on in a few minutes, but national TV. You were improvising.
And I was flirting with the girl. But I thought Yamame, I'm confused now.
Oh, no, yes, you're right.
Yamame was me washing a car, right?
Yes, it was. The idea was, it was back when there were a lot of 1-800 numbers, like 1-800, like people would have call me 1-800, this,
right.
1-800 hunk, 1-800 this. And yours was like 1-800 Craigers or something. It was the premise was that, the talent at Sports Center sometimes gets into some of their own, stuff, outside of Sports Center, and they've got their own careers going on. And you had 1-800 Craigers, and it was like you talking to the camera. I think we had you waxing a car in like maybe tight pants or something.
Yamame. And tell the people what Yamame means again, because I don't even know.
Well, my reference point for Yamame is the Blondie song "Call Me." Debbie Harry, Blondie. Remember in the song "Call Me," she goes Yamame.
Oh, that's right. Call me.
So you were doing a lot of Spanish stuff. You would do some Spanish stuff on the air, and so we thought it'd be fun if you said Yamame.
And just to let people know, because we've known each other so long, when I did the Daily Show, I asked Hank to do the promos. When I did the CBS show, we did the Willy Wonka promos. It sounds like I'm a giving friend. I really tried to help you out in your career.
You have helped me out in my career, and
I'm a good person. Yeah,
you're a good person. You're giving. You share. You like to collaborate. You're giving. I think that's a good word for it.
Selfless. So
selfless.
Over the years, you like to be a contrarian. We've had little friendly jousts, debates, and I can remember two. And let's start with the Bowie Lou Reed one. What happened there? That was in the 90s. What was your perspective on David Bowie and Lou Reed? Do you remember that argument?
Yeah, it's going to seem like I'm walking it back a little bit.
You should be. I
think I was being a little bit of a smart ass, and I love Bowie, but I think I wanted to point out that Bowie was very influenced by the Velvet Underground and Lou Reed. And if you listen to some of his early songs, you hear, I'm not going to say him trying to imitate the lyric quality or the type of lyric, but he's kind of like, he's throwing, the word cruiser around, and he's throwing, New York. He set some songs in New York. So he's trying, I think he liked the Velvet Underground. He liked Lou Reed, and I think he wanted to incorporate that. So I would never, I think what's great about David Bowie is he borrowed from a lot of
influenced by a lot of people.
Yes.
Infinitely more gifted than Lou Reed was my argument. You were playing games. You have walked it back. Thank God. That was an easy victory for me. But I also like to point out that Bowie produced, they were friends, and Bowie produced Take a Walk on the Wild Side, his most commercial hit, I believe. What was the other one? That's Sweet Jane, but I don't think that was as successful as Take a Walk on the Wild Side. So that was one of our debates. And that was fun. That was an easy one for me. I think I was sleeping while I was winning that debate. I was just kind of napping and just saying blah, 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 blah. But you've recovered.
I think you make a good point, which is Bowie was very generous. Like we were talking about how generous you were to me in my career. Bowie was very generous to both Lou Reed and Iggy Pop. He was a fan of theirs, and he produced. He helped them, co-wrote some songs with Iggy, but no, Bowie's a class act, always will be.
The other argument I remember, again, these are easy victories. I just want to have some fun here. Olive oil. Go ahead, Hank. You have the floor. Olive oil.
All right. This one, I will completely walk back. I was being argumentative, and you and your significant other were telling me about the health benefits of olive oil.
Princess Cherry. Yes. Olive oil is good for you. Yes.
you're talking about how olive oil is good for you. And I was just being a little obnoxious at the time. Maybe I'd had too much to drink, but I was just saying, yeah, olive oil is good for you, but it's not like you should guzzle it. It's still oil. It's
Still
got
petroleum
fats.
oil. I think I heard the word petroleum, or I threw it in there.
No, but it's still fat. It was my point. But then, as the research and the data, as I became more aware of that, the research, I did learn about how olive oil was indeed very good for you. And I went to a health spa recently where they made us actually drink olive oil. So every time
Right.
I have to do that, I think of you.
And I just wanted to touch on that. I don't use the term foodie, but I like gourmand or something. But you are very successful, and you eat out a lot. And you went in, you checked into a health spa out near Palm Springs. And how did that go, and what did that consist of?
Well, first of all, it's a brilliant business plan. If anybody's looking for a new business idea, although it's already done, which is it's a spa where you go to for 5 days or 7 days and they don't feed you.
Right.
They don't feed you. You only have you only drink liquids, and there's things that are kind of like smoothies. There's things that are kind of like juice. The end of the day, you get a cup of soup. I think you could have 2 cups of soup, but it's not really soup. It's like broth.
Right.
So there's not a lot of solid food, and it was tough. The first couple days, you're really, you're a little bit angry. You're testy.
It's like they cleanse you out. It's like I don't know if it's a colon cleanse or whatever it is, but they give you stuff to make you hit the John at the spa.
Yeah. And
did you like it, or would you ever go back, or was it depressing?
I actually am going to go back.
Oh,
I've never felt better than the 2 weeks after it. Of course, the idea is you reset your body and you follow some healthy habits when you get home. I didn't do that as well. My follow-up was unacceptable. I didn't do what I needed to do. So yeah, I want to go back because I think you're not there to lose weight, but I think I lost about 8 to 10 pounds.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Now they're not saying after you leave, you have to have a strict diet. You're going to go back to your rich food because you go to nice restaurants and you like all the foods, and you like Italian and you like French, right?
I like food and wine.
Yeah.
And I like mixing and matching the two. But as I get older, I'm probably not going as hard with either food or wine, everything in moderation kind of thing. Trying to eat more fish.
Right. I eat a lot of fish. I love my salmon. I love my broccoli. I pick my spots. I've never really eaten a lot of red meat. Although I think as I get older, I'm eating more of it a little bit because I avoided it for so long. And it's like, you only got 20 years left, have some red meat. But that's the one that's bad for you. Go ahead.
So we're not going to bring up the tri-tip.
I cooked a rough tri-tip on the barbecue. Let's see, I made fish stew. I made chili. I don't know. But yeah, we're not going to bring up the tri-tip. I did that on the barbecue. Go ahead. Were you going to say? Okay.
No.
Do you like?
I'm taking your lead on that one.
Do you like sausage, by the way? Do you like bratwurst or kielbasa or any of that stuff?
That's not my thing.
So when you're going to indulge,
yes.
Like I haven't done this for years, but a couple years ago, I think it's because my brother and his daughters, my nieces, I started having cheeseburgers from Five Guys with the Cajun fries just once in a while. I'll have a cheeseburger now. And I did do that at Father's office also here in Santa Monica. But do you go cheeseburger? Do you go pizza? When you're going to indulge, what do you do?
The Father's office burgers are amazing.
Love them.
There's a real high-end place here in New York that has an amazing hamburger. Al Cheval, I think it's called. It's an amazing hamburger. Unbelievable. I don't do red meat very often at all. When I want to really treat myself, I mean, I have something that you don't have. I have a sweet tooth. So I like the desserts. If I'm gonna treat myself, I'll have maybe a rich dessert. But pasta, I don't, like I said, I don't eat a lot of meat. I'm going out to a restaurant tonight with a friend, and they're known, believe it or not, for their rotisserie. It's a high-end restaurant, but they're known for their rotisserie chicken. Not something I eat a lot, but like they brine it for like 3 weeks or something, and slow. I don't know, but I'll probably have the chicken tonight. But
yeah, I eat a lot of chicken. I try to eat a lot of fish. I do like the pork chops. If I have a steak, it's going to be marbled ribeye, sometimes Cajun spiced, but that's a rarity. That's a rarity. I do like ossobuco. I live, man. You mentioned desserts. I was in Palm Springs the other day at the place called Bar Cecil, and there's this new thing these people are doing. It's called Michelin mentioned. They don't get a Michelin star. They get a mention. And then everyone flocks there. And then the bartender says, it was a mention. I said, oh, cool. Gotcha. Very funny. There's a place up in San Luis Obispo that I really like called Nate's on Marsh, Michelin mentioned. But they advertise it in a way where it's like, they don't always say the word mention until you've just about ready to pay your bill. No, I'm just kidding. No, but they're really good. They're good. Like, so Bar Cecil in Palm Springs has a $50 martini, which I did not partake in, but they just give you a side of like some special chips with caviar. You know, that's what jacks up the price. But we had dessert the other day. This is 2 days ago. And I don't know, it just, it was a lemon tart. And I just couldn't believe it because I said, this is so good. It's not sweet. It's not that sweet. I don't like sweet. And that's like key lime pie. It's not that sweet. Do you have an opinion on lemon tarts?
Yeah, I think when they're not too sweet, I love key lime pie, lemon tarts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you actually made me think of something when you brought up the martini. I've always had a martini question for you that I've never asked.
Yeah.
Is it all right if I ask it? Because you know more about martinis and you have more thoughts about martinis than just about anybody I know. Lately, you see a lot more, appletinis or espresso martinis. Like they're being very creative with martinis. Do you stay away from are you a purist? I guess is my question.
Well, I'm a purist, except I drink with martinis with vodka, not gin. So gin would be a purist, but I strongly avoid any of that sugar. Espresso martinis are awful for you, but young people like all the flavors because you're drinking it and you don't know it's an alcoholic drink. It's like, this is sweet and I can drink so many of these. When I was in my 30s, I had gimlets, Rose's lime juice. Now it's just straight vodka. I had a bartender, I think I may have told you this, and she said, vodka doesn't have a lot of flavor. She said, I can shake the house vodka enough and make a chilled martini with the twist, and you won't even know which vodka it is. And she says, people like how cold it is going down your throat and then it warms up. So I like the whole ritual of shaking a martini or stirring it, the ritual of making one, and the martini glasses aesthetically are beautiful. I do, if I'm being honest, alcohol cuts off the edge. We can call it a buzz, but I'm not 18 years old. It cuts the edge, and the edge that it cuts, the edge cutter of a martini is beautiful. I drink red wine and vodka. That's it. That's all I do. Do not have the syrupy martini drinks. Can't do that. Stay away from Cosmos, Hank. Don't have a Cosmo.
No. Sugar. Yeah. I'm trying to avoid. I'm doing mostly tequila and mezcal. If I drink any liquor whatsoever,
that's smart. I wish, I know it's not, it's kind of safe to have tequila and mezcal. This is my issue with tequila. I'll drink it straight on ice. I want it in a martini glass. I guess you can shake it. It's just, but I don't see them shaking it and serving it like a martini with olives or a lemon or a twist. Maybe I'm missing out, but I know it's not, might even be better for you than vodka, tequila. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because vodka is made from potatoes. I think they say tequila is one of the cleaner hard liquors, but I totally appreciate what you're saying about the romance of a martini. The whole thing, the glass, the whole idea of our parents, having 3 martini lunches. Was that a real thing?
I think it was called a 2 martini lunch. Oh. And the fact that these people did it, I guess they just didn't know what was going on. But I always have that question because I'm so such a novice and a square and a prude when it comes to marijuana that I don't know, do people go to lunch and take a few hits of the weed during the day while they're working? I don't know how any of that works. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it depends on what you do for a living.
I got another one for you. I got another topic for you.
Right.
And the last thing I'm ever going to do, I wouldn't do it privately with you, and I wouldn't do it publicly. I would never call you gutless ever. How many NFL teams do you have and why? You're not allowed, America, to have multiple NFL teams. You have to have one favorite team, and then you can have a couple extras. Hank, do you still have 3 favorite teams? I know you've moved around in your lifetime.
I have 3 favorite teams.
And
the Bears, the Saints, the Bears, the Saints, and the Jets. And I feel like I have an argument for each one of them. But yeah, I agree that, first, I probably should choose. It's hard because
this is what I believe. I think you were born in Chicago, or you lived there early on. Then you went to Florida. You eschewed the Dolphins. You went to college in Tulane. You like the Saints. And now you live in New York and you've adopted the Rangers, the hockey team, and the Jets. I believe in my heart of hearts that you like the Jets now more than the Bears and the Saints. Am I right?
Yes. Quick little clarification. The Saints are more about, my family all lives in New Orleans. My mom, my sister, brother-in-law, everybody lives. So they love the Saints. You know how people in New Orleans are about the Saints. It's infectious. So that's my Saints connection. The Jets connection was actually, being from Chicago, my favorite relationship to any team was my relationship to the Chicago Cubs. I love underdogs. I love teams that are, pathetic. It seems like they're cursed. They're never going to win. It's why when I first came to New York, I rooted for the New York Rangers because they hadn't won the Stanley Cup since 1940.
Yeah, it's why you like Lou Reed.
Yes, curse. Yes. I mean, I like the underdog. It is true. And so the Jets, let's face it, are the ultimate underdog. And as you know, we have a mutual friend, Steve Elliott, who grew up a Jet fan.
The audio guy, the guy with the bad audio?
The guy with the bad microphone, yes. But we're not going to talk about that. But hopefully you'll have him back on one day. I know he's been blackballed for now, but maybe you'll change your mind about that. But yes, he grew up, and I just love the stories of his dad and his brothers, and they all, at the beginning of the year, they're all excited. Beginning of the season, they go to the Jet games and they drive an hour and a half, and then the Jets just always let them down. I just think that
it is
I stopped rooting for the Cubs when the Cubs won the World Series. I stopped rooting for them.
I know people,
it wasn't as fun.
Right. I know people that have done that. There was a guy, Ted Jessup. I worked with him, and he grew up in the Baltimore, Maryland area. And when they were called the Bullets, now they're the Wizards, but they won in the late 70s, like 78. And he said, I stopped following because it's never going to be that sweet again. They won. And anyways, so I know how people do that. You've got to be excited about Aaron Rodgers, but I wanted to ask you a Zach Wilson question. You're one of those guys who's opinionated, you're judgmental, and yet you always surprise me with some of your answers. Do you approve of Zach Wilson, the quarterback, the backup quarterback for the Jets, sleeping with his mom's friend?
Yes. That's an easy question.
And why would you say that?
No, it's just, he's a red-blooded American quarterback. I mean, the quarterback, a quarterback is a quarterback. I mean, right? There's.
Did you guys have fun with that? Did you and Steve laugh so hard when you heard Zach Wilson was catting around with different women?
Yeah, no, that's going to keep going for a while too. There's no shortage. That's going to keep going.
It backfired on him, but for Joe Willie Namath, it's like he's the coolest guy in the world. Yeah,
and then remember, don't forget the Jets had with Brett Favre when he was with the Jets was sending photographs. I don't know if you remember that to various people. So there's something about being a Jet quarterback. We'll see what happens with Aaron Rodgers.
That is hilarious. I wanted to ask you about pop music because it came up recently where my friend from Minneapolis, Dan Barrero, was telling me that Taylor Swift came to the Twin Cities and he was taken aback by what he called the Swifties. These are people obsessed with Taylor Swift. And I honestly don't know much about her. So the first thing I do is I look up to see if she's supposed to have a great voice. And I don't know if she has a great voice. Do you know anything about her?
I know so much about Taylor Swift.
Because of your kids, right?
I have a 15-year-old daughter. I just saw her, Taylor Swift, at MetLife about 6 weeks ago.
Okay.
I know all her albums. She might not be your type of artist because I think her first thing, what I think she'll be remembered as is a brilliant songwriter.
Well, I like
know,
that.
Songwriter, like she's more about words. You and I would have the arguments about Dylan versus, McCartney. And I would always say that Lennon was a better songwriter than McCartney but you'd say the melodies are better. So Taylor Swift, no, she has a very good voice, but I wouldn't that's definitely not her best quality. She's a great performer.
Right.
But
this is what I'm getting.
She's a songwriter.
Well, so let me comment on that. Mariah Carey is supposed to have a great voice. That sounds right, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I looked up Taylor Swift and they said not necessarily a great voice, but obviously she's a special performer. I like songwriters, but obviously we differ in the angst of Dylan versus the peacefulness of McCartney, or however you want to describe it. But I go way back, and this is where I don't ever force the American songbook on people. This is Gershwin and Cole Porter. Those lyrics, the words blow me away. When it's unrequited love or it's true love, and they talk about on the street where you live. As he's walking down the street, he feels a mile high. He's floating because he's in love with this girl, and you know what I'm saying? You know the old songs, the American songbook. Do they do anything for you? Those lyrics?
Oh yeah. I mean, 5 years ago, Bob Dylan did, I think, 4 total albums of nothing but, he didn't call them covers. He called it sort of uncovering, but all those songs, but even a lot of Sinatra ones, and I think the lyrics, and he goes, and that's Bob Dylan saying, these are the songs. This is where it all, started for him. And it's also, he thinks you can't beat those songs. That's as good as songwriting gets.
Right. That's kind of what I think. Now, I think my issue is, and this is not, I'm being polite, or I don't have the angst that some people have as they go through a journey and all that kind of stuff. But I do like beauty, and I do like beautiful songs. And my brother has always told me I'm a sucker for ballads. So I do like lyrics, but probably just different lyrics or different messages. The joke I told you, Gibby, with Springsteen is 3 things. I gotta get out of this town. I got a car, there's a road. And he would dismiss, he was mocking Springsteen that all of his songs were the same. But the guy has soul, the guy is a legend. So it just depends on the I guess it depends on the message you want to hear. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I would say one thing to Gibby, which is Nebraska. I would challenge anybody to listen to Nebraska and think and ever think that Springsteen just does one thing, because right. Nebraska is the ultimate songwriter's album, I think. But anyways, Taylor Swift, what you would like about Taylor Swift, Craig, is how much the fans are into it. They know every word of every song. Right. And to sit there in the stadium at MetLife with my daughter, who was crying pretty much the entire concert, and we're surrounded by 50,000 other women and girls and men who are just crying and hanging on every word. And it was fun. I didn't enjoy the concert as much as I enjoyed seeing how much everybody else enjoyed it, but I really did think it was amazing.
Did you cry more at this concert or your first Kiss concert?
I've never seen Kiss.
You seem like a Paul Stanley fanatic.
Yeah, Ace. I kind of liked Ace freely.
Okay, so how does Swiftie, or not Swiftie, because those are the fans, how does Taylor Swift compare to like Adele? Because I know like Gibby and Princess Cherry both adore Adele.
Adele's great. Saw her at Madison Square Garden a few years back. I just don't think she is as prolific as Taylor Swift. Doesn't have the body of work. I mean, Taylor Swift's been writing songs since she was 14. I mean, I guess I don't know as much. I don't want to speak too much about Adele.
Okay.
I know my daughter, for example, she loves Taylor Swift. I don't think she's as interested. I like when kids, because I remember being a 15-year-old kid and loving music. I was obsessed with music. And I actually want to ask you a question, because I know you were really into music growing up. But I think that's such an interesting time when you form that connection to the artists you like. With you, it was probably, it was Prince, it was, the basketball players you like, Dr. J. When you're that age, when you're a teenager and you have your idols and you have the people you kind of worship, it's just you never have that again. Can I ask you my music question?
Yes, sir.
I've always been interested, but you're from Minneapolis, great music city in so many ways, maybe one of the best, if not the best music cities in America. Obviously you love Prince, you love the Minneapolis sound, a little more dance music, Morris Day, all that stuff. I don't know if you were into the Jets, the musical group.
I remember that.
Remember the Jets?
Yeah, a little too pop for me. Yeah,
from Minneapolis. But if you had to name your favorite rock band from Minneapolis, who would it be?
Well, it's a good question. And to let people know, I grew up in Hastings, which is 20 minutes south of St. Paul, 40 minutes south of Minneapolis. We were just proud that, Minnesota was a special state. I'm glad I grew up there. I wasn't born there. I moved there before kindergarten, all the way through high school, loyal to the teams, proud that Bob Dylan is from there, Kevin McHale, Prince, Jessica Lange. But so I listened to the music my dad turned me on to was Nat King Cole, Francis Albert Sinatra. I heard all that stuff in addition to liking, the white guys from the suburbs who used to buy rap albums. Well, I bought, soul music. So it was Barry White and Earth, Wind, Fire and the Stylistics. And I did listen to the Beatles when I was really young, but I didn't really listen to white rock and roll until college. And then I really liked the Police. I liked Sting and the Police. And that's when I really was into Bowie. And you've asked me a question. I don't know if I'm going to give you the answer. So you want me to say my favorite rock and roll band?
I just wanted you to say Husker Du so you'd sound cool.
Oh, Minneapolis, right. Replacements and Husker Du. So I didn't listen to them. I apologize. I did not listen to them. So
it was a softball. Craig, it was a softball.
It was. Yeah, I forgot that it was about Minnesota. Replacements and Husker Du. So all the little people there who think they're hip because they listen to them, congratulations. I was listening to Nat King Cole and you were listening to the Replacements.
I think I respect that about you, that you didn't go along with the crowd. I do remember you liking some rock though. When I visited you in Hartford, Connecticut, was it Hartford? Yeah.
Yeah.
You were listening to Iggy Pop. Do you remember that? You used to have an Iggy Pop tape in your car.
Yeah, I was. I saw him because I liked Bowie. I also liked Iggy Pop. And he had a song called Cold Metal, I believe. And I went to see him when I lived in Los Angeles in the late 80s at the Whiskey A Go-Go on Sunset. So this would have been the late 80s. And he was crazy. He moved on stage like nobody else did. And then he'd dive into the audience. So I go to the Whiskey A Go-Go. I watch him and he's singing and it's a very small crowd. And it's a small venue. And he dives into the crowd and not everyone catches him and he lands on the concrete and he gets up and he gets on stage. He goes, "I'm still effing tough. I'm still tough." And I was sitting.
And he wasn't wearing a shirt. He was not wearing a shirt.
He was ripped. You've seen me without my shirt on many times. He is more ripped than I am. But here is the funny thing. So I'm in the back against the wall near the bar watching the concert of Iggy Pop. And there's this 17-year-old kid who's grabbing the waitresses and spitting up beer and falling down, just hammered. And I said to the bartender, why didn't they kick this guy out? He goes, that's Iggy's son, Eric. He's 17. That's Iggy's son, Eric.
Oh, yeah. I think I read that his son would do like security for him and travel with him on tour and stuff. Yeah.
Let me go to my next one where you like, in general, you like pop music. I know you say you like a variety of music because you like the Clash and you like the punk music, but you also said you like Thunder Island by Jay Ferguson. Remember that one?
Yes. I love a lot of 70s kind of, pop rock, Jay Ferguson, Thunder Island. Yes. I like, you know what song reminds me of Thunder Island is Magnet and Steel.
Oh, yeah.
You know the song Magnet and Steel.
Yeah.
I don't know why I think of those two sometimes together.
I will say that there were songs that I wouldn't listen to. I appreciate some of the stuff I kind of avoided in the 70s and 80s and more classic rock. So I like I hope his name is slipping my mind, Moondance.
Van Morrison.
I like Van Morrison. I like this is not that big of a deal, but I like Daryl Hall a lot. I like Daryl's House, and he covers some good songs. He does "I'll Be Around" by the Spinners, and that's great. Do you like? Let me just.
He has a great voice, right? His voice is kind of underrated. He has an underrated voice.
There was this thing I said once to Jimmy Jam, and he knows music. The great producer from Minneapolis, friend of mine, and I said to him just to impress him or something. The two most underrated pop voices are Howard. Is his name Howard? I think so. Howard Hewitt from Shalimar and Daryl Hall from Hall & Oates. And he goes, you're right. Those guys are great. I think his name was Howard Hewitt. Okay, I'm going to name some guys. Just tell me your opinion of them. These are singers all across all the genres. Manilow, go. Manilow, go.
Love. Bought the album when I was 6 years old. Weekend in New England. Mandy. Two favorite songs.
I had him on the show. He said, on the CBS show, and he said, I don't want to be interviewed at the chair next to your desk because I'm boring, and let's do it at the piano. Because he wanted to, he didn't want to be interviewed at the over near the desk. So I kept telling him, I was having fun. I'm on when you modulate and keep modulating and go up an octave, I'm on a manna high when I hear Manilow. I do all these silliness. Craig, you get me. But I was telling him there was a favorite song that I had, and we started singing it together, and we'll just go on Burning Bright, Somewhere in the Night. Somewhere, it's great. Love it. Go ahead. Were you going to say something?
No, I remember you playing that song for me because I wasn't as familiar with it, and you exposed me to that song. Greatness. Yep.
One of my gifts is to find an artist. Obviously, Eyes Without a Face is my favorite Billy Idol song, is to Prove It All Night. I'm on Fire. I can find Springsteen. I can find the gems that are a little better than the other ones. These are gifts. I have an ear. I'm not musical at all. And by the way, you're one of those guys like James Dolan, who owns the Knicks. You like to be in a rock band, right?
Please don't compare me to James Dolan. Can we edit that out?
No, but what is it about guys that like to, it's just fun to be a rock star on stage and play guitar, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like you're a frustrated, it's like you just like to try and pretend, learning the guitar. I took guitar lessons as a kid. I never got past a certain, place in terms of my talent because I didn't have any. But it's fun. It's like a hobby. It's like anything else. You can still do it. You have a piano at your house. Yeah. You don't really play the piano.
I don't. Everybody else in my family does. And I said, and I still might, but it takes discipline. I still might learn a couple Jobim songs. I should be able to. It's very interesting. Cherry took years of piano, and she'll play sometimes. I go, whoa, because my mom actually taught piano, and my mom played in the Baptist church at age 12. She played the organ. So I come from a musical family. My dad learned how to play piano by ear. But I never had a desire to be a musician. I just love listening to music. It inspires me, you know? I just thought, no, James Dolan, I was joking, but you know, have you ever gone
That's the worst.
Have you ever gone to James Dolan concerts? Or what does he play? Doesn't he play Springsteen, or what does he play, or you don't know?
I want.
This is an obvious question. I should know the answer. It tells you how much he owns the Rangers as well, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So do you and you're a huge Rangers fan. We're going to get to that, but do you loathe James Dolan in general?
Yes.
Okay. We'll get to the Rangers in a second. Sinatra, your thoughts?
You know, only wrote one song in his life, but nobody sings better. Nobody, you know, the phrasing, you love Sinatra.
I thought you used to make fun of him because you'd say he doesn't write his own songs, but that's, you know.
Well, it's a different skill. It's like,
right.
It's nobody sings better. There's no better saloon singer than Frank Sinatra.
Okay. Do you ever listen to Tony Bennett?
Yes. I'm familiar. I appreciate him, but no, I can't say that like I go home and put on Tony Bennett, but I do anytime I hear him. I love all his collaborations. Seems like a very nice man.
Right.
Yeah, nothing but respect.
Elton John.
So much respect. And I really, you know, it's funny. I was just watching the Wham documentary on TV.
Yeah.
And it was great, by the way. Great doc. But I really liked how Elton John kind of championed George Michael and Wham as artists and George Michael as a songwriter when nobody was, you know, people weren't taking them that seriously.
Right.
You know, for, you know, maybe obvious reasons, but Elton John's really good. Like he's a generous artist. He helps others and great songwriter, great performer. I love everything about Elton John.
Does it bother you, as you're sometimes opinionated about Sinatra doesn't write his songs, that Elton John had a lyricist, Bernie Taupin?
No, you know, Elton John actually wrote some lyrics in his time.
I hope so.
I think like in the mid 80s or mid 90s, he did some. No, because I think he played to his strengths and Bernie Taupin. I mean, they had a partnership that worked really well for both of them. So, you know, I get it.
I already had this written down, but George Michael.
Wow.
Do you like George Michael?
Love George Michael. And the more I learn about him and his life and the Wham documentary is amazing because you really get an idea of why he was so driven and what he wanted and then how it felt when he got it
right.
and what he had to deal with because of it. But the talent, man. As a producer, the Wham thing, it really shows. I didn't realize how involved he was in producing that early stuff. He was great.
Do you have, I have a couple, like 2 to 3 favorite songs. They're kind of obvious. Do you have favorite songs for George Michael?
Well, Freedom 1990. I mean, it's a great song, right?
I don't listen to that one. Princess Cherry likes that song. I obviously like Careless Whisper. That was the first song. I didn't care about Wham. I like Careless Whisper. He wrote it when he was 17 is what I heard for years.
Yes.
I like Fast Love. And then Jesus to a Child, I think is the other one. But there might be a few more. But I've always liked him.
Well, what about we were talking about Daryl Hall having an underrated voice. What about George Michael?
I like his voice. He sang, he was on a Jobim album and he sang a Jobim song. And he also does a cover of one of my favorite songs, I Can't Make You Love Me If You Don't, Bonnie Raitt. He covers that as does Adele. Beautiful song. Yeah, I might play it for you with my shirt off one day. We'll be in the den and we'll just have some of that Bordeaux and just talk about life. I mean, that's what we've been doing for 30 years.
30 years. Wow.
Todd Rundgren.
I don't know as much about him as I probably should because so influential and so his career's lasted so long. There's some great songs. You know, I feel bad because like this, you know, I know I don't want to work. I just want to bang on my drum all day. That's the song I know the most.
Right.
But what's that song? The kind of mellow one from the 70s?
wait a second, because he has the one that I like that's underrated, which is not as popular as the one you're talking about. Hello, It's Me is a very popular one. The one that I like is Can We Still Be Friends? That's the one that I love. It's like for Hall & Oates, I like Wait For Me. I pick out these melodic tunes that are beautiful, etc. I'm going to go to overrated. My brother thinks Morrissey's overrated. I like Morrissey. What are your thoughts on Morrissey?
I have a lot of respect for your brother. I think he's actually knows music very well. I think he couldn't be more wrong about Morrissey. I think Morrissey is probably one of the funniest songwriters. Like if you just had to say who's lyrics,
that's what you're laughing. Well, my brother will agree with you on that. It's if a double-decker bus crashes into us, to die by your side is such a wonderful way to die. I mean that's just the Mayor of Mope. Here we go.
I know, but he's also there's a lot of funny stuff,
right?
I
love Morrissey.
Now I know how I know how Joan of Arc felt,
right? As
the flames rose to her Roman nose,
right? And
her Walkman started to. I mean, it's just it's funny. I still see Morrissey whenever he's in town. I know he's controversial with his politics, which I think he's a little misunderstood, but I'm not going to get into that. But I think he writes amazing songs, and I think he contributes to the melodies. People are like, well, Johnny Marr with the Smiths. But if you look at Morrissey's solo career since the Smiths, I mean, there's some amazing songs.
Yeah, I'm a fan. Caligula would have blushed. Yes. Do you think anybody is? I know you've said your stuff about McCartney. Is there anybody really popular that you find overrated, or is that hard to do off the top of your head?
The Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay, not a fan of the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Not a fan.
Right.
Let me think of some other. I mean, they seem.
What about Guns N' Roses? Are they overrated?
I mean, one great album, 1.5 great albums. I don't know, but I do like when bands are like in their moment. And I remember loving like when, same remember when Oasis was so huge, there was that year when they were, and Guns N' Roses, when they were big, I remember, even though they weren't my favorite band, I didn't even love them, I liked what they stood for. I liked that there was a period of time where Axl Rose just kind of lost his mind. I remember watching them live and he's like running around on stage wearing a catcher's mask and like weird baseball outfit. And I just remember thinking like, this is so ridiculous, but they just could do no wrong at that moment. They were the biggest stars in the world. And it doesn't happen as much anymore. Even Taylor Swift, as big as she is, there's a lot of people that don't know that much about her.
Right. Yeah. Oh, there was somebody I was going to ask you about, because you just said, and then it slipped my mind. And you are a concert goer. It's pretty safe to say you like to go to concerts.
I'm going to a concert tonight.
Would you like to tell us?
Yeah, I'm going with our mutual friend, Stacy Wall.
Yeah.
I'm going to see at the Beacon Theater, Elvis Costello and the Imposters, and Nick Lowe is opening for them. So there might be them playing together. So yeah, Beacon Theater, 7:30.
Can I tell you a story that you're going to laugh at? But so I love Elvis Costello, and he did an album. No, he did some songs with Burt Bacharach. And I had Bacharach on the show, but he was with a different singer at the time, one of the Isley brothers. But so Elvis Costello did the show, and I was talking to him backstage, and he had this really pretty song about getting divorced, and you have to choose the friends must choose sides in the divorce, and this house is empty now. I think that was the name of the song. This house is empty now. And it was really pretty. And I listened to it and I go, oh, I wish he would have gone back. I wish he would have gone back to the verse again right here instead of this or something. I had a critique about the verse or the chorus where I needed him to repeat it again to make it a complete song for me. I told him. Did you
say anything to him? Yeah.
I told him, oh, this is off camera.
Yeah.
I'm sure, I don't remember. I'm sure he just looked at me like, who the hell, what are you talking about? Like, what do
Oh
you
my
do?
God.
A non-musical guy saying, because I felt the song, and I'm like, just repeat the verse here would have been perfect. What are you doing? Because in general, I like verses more than choruses. Anyway, I don't know.
I
Is that
love
hilarious?
I love that story for so many reasons. Because Elvis Costello has, worked with so many different types
Hasn't
of
worked with
artists,
Kilby.
and he's produced and so many classical, country, New Orleans jazz. Like, he's a real and there's Craig saying, you know what you needed to do? You need to repeat the verse there. Is what
I
you got to
told
do,
this,
Elvis.
Declan.
Declan.
I go listen to live music out in the desert, and there's this guy. I'm going to protect him, but he's a guitar player. And a lot of these guys out in the desert, they came out to LA, or they're from LA, and they made it. They had some albums and stuff, and then now they're chilling out in the desert and playing at the different restaurants and stuff. Talented guy. But he knows I'm opinionated a little bit. I request songs. I request Georgie Porgy by Toto. I request a lot of. I feel the music, man.
Yeah.
And I told him this story about Elvis Costello, and he was kind of excited to see if Elvis put me in my place. He goes, "Oh, what did he do?" And I could tell that the singer, the guitar player, was too excited about the story. I said, "He laughed because I'm funny. He just laughed. That's all." I don't think he did, but that's okay. He could care less. He just rolled his eyes, probably. Anywho, yeah, I like that story. That's
when I go see him tonight, he's going to play that song, and he's going to play it with the
right way.
The right way.
I hope so.
I have a feeling, and I will let you know.
Yeah. Years ago, I was talking to Greg Kilby. I
like that you don't go for the hits. You don't go for the hits. You dig deeper into somebody's catalog. I think that's admirable.
I have an ear for certain songs. I have Court Vision in Life. And I have it. I just have it.
That's an interesting question for
yeah.
you. As long as I've known you, you've always liked passing in sports, whether it's obviously basketball. Assists are very important to you. Hockey, you like the guys. You're not all about the scores. You're like the guys who can make the beautiful pass. Why? Have you ever analyzed why you think you like passing more than scoring?
It's a good question. Here's the first thing that comes to my mind. It's more creative. Okay. In fact, I told the story. I'm going to tell you, you've never heard this story. It's a basketball story. I'll try to make it as quick as possible. Montana State. I didn't play as much as I wanted to. I was recruited to play two guard, but we got this guy, Jeff Epperly, who was from Montana, who was a great athlete. So he played two guard. So I played small forward and point guard. I had my best games at point guard my sophomore year. And then we had a new coach my junior year. And so I didn't play as much. And I'm in the game, and I'm on the left side, 22 feet out. I don't know if I can describe this. Our big man is on the left block trying to post up, but the guy is fronting him. So he has him pinned. And if I lob the ball over to the right side, he has the man pinned, and he can score a layup easily on the right side. He was trying. So I throw a lob to the guy on the right side from 22 feet out, forcing the big man, Trig Johnson, to grab the ball and score a layup. Did it easily. I also fed the post all the time on offense. When you have the ball on the perimeter and you throw it to the post, the defense sags. It creates openings for the guy. Doesn't have to score. He can kick it out for a wide open shot. Feed the post. The next day after watching film, the coach does this. This is a true story. Has everyone huddle up, and he says, Greg Kilborn is the best post passer on this team. I just watched film. He's better than you, Jeff. He's better than you, Phil. He's better than you, Chris. He's better than you, Trig. He went around the whole team and said, Kilborn is the best passer of the post, anybody on this team. And it was very dramatic. And I thought he did it because he wanted these guys to learn this skill. Please do this. It really helps our offense. And I'm thinking, well, then play me more, man. Let's get this thing going. I'll get my 20 points and I'll get my 10 assists. What do you think of that dramatic story?
Did you ever follow up with your coach? Did you
say, play me more?
Well, just say, hey, thanks for the kind words. But, what was your point exactly? And what can we,
I'm a good passer. I could score. I was a good shooter. I was a good passer. What bothered as my brother said, I think these coaches are obsessed with the athletic types, and I moved at my own speed, like Luka Doncic, Larry, Paul Pierce, guys that move at their own. I'm not hyperactive except when I tell this story.
It's funny.
Is this too deep for the listeners?
No,
Hank?
it's like basketball IQ. When they're drafting kids, they always obviously, they look at the physical attributes. But yeah, how do you, we all know players who weren't, how high could Larry Bird jump, for example?
Right, exactly.
He
was athletic, though. He was 6'9" and coordinated. Not a lot of 6'9" guys can make the passes and shoot 3-pointers like him. He actually did a test at Indiana State, and they said he's really coordinated. He just looked a little slow or whatever, but he's cat quick with his hands at his first step. I mean, listen, we're going to talk hockey, but you love Gretzky. Why did he pass better than everybody else?
Because he saw the ice better than everybody else. He knew what was going to happen. He knew where players were going to be. He saw plays developing. He thought ahead. He would put what's his famous line? Don't skate to where the puck is, skate to where it's going to be. He just thought the game better than anybody else.
And as you know, we're going to talk about this now. I don't follow hockey, but is he the best passer of all time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, statistically, and if you ask anybody, yeah.
Okay. So the Rocket Richard, I mean, I guess, no, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, it's funny. The one argument, a lot of people will argue that there are other players besides Gretzky who are the greatest player of all time, but I don't think too many people would argue.
That's what I was wondering.
There's a better passer. I think that's indisputable, I think.
We're actually done a lot here, but I had to get into the sports stuff because I wanted to say that you are a hockey fan, and what I like about it is you don't force that on anybody else. You know how popular or not popular hockey is. There are rabid NHL fans across the country. That's why the league exists. I don't watch it, but I wanted to tell you, I only watch the NFL and the NBA. I don't watch college sports, including college basketball. When I was younger, I watched tennis, which I enjoyed. I don't watch it anymore. I sometimes would watch golf. Golf is kind of fun, but now I just watch 2 sports. But there's a difference. I want to talk about sports I don't like, and I want to ask you first. What are popular sports that you just don't like? Because I have a few.
Well, I want to hear what you have to say. I mean, okay. I don't have too many.
There's a big one I want to ask you.
Okay. I mean, I don't have too, I didn't like college football for a long time, but then this year I became more of a college football fan. I think I like a big game in any sport. I mean, golf, I don't think I could watch too much golf on TV. I don't like playing golf. I don't like watching golf. Right. That's the one sport I'm not interested in.
So, I just want people to know, isn't hockey, the NHL, that's your favorite sport to watch, correct?
Yeah. I don't know why, but yes.
Yeah. You watch every Ranger game.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this has anything to do with anything, but in high school, you were a wrestler.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm just saying you didn't play these other sports. Okay.
No.
So you don't watch a lot of pro wrestling
or amateur wrestling. Right. Wrestling's a weird sport to grow old with.
Okay.
It's like,
so
you can't do like pickup wrestling.
Right.
You can't go to the park. You can't go to the park and like, hey, you want to wrestle?
So my dad was a snob, and when it came, he liked baseball. Do you care about baseball?
I care, like the history of baseball. I think I liked it. When I was a kid, I loved baseball. Right. I like throwing the ball with my son. I like the romantic side of baseball. Yeah.
Right. But he was opinionated about, like, during the Summer Olympics in the 70s, swimming, they would keep shaving off a second, and they keep setting records. And he just didn't take these sports seriously, like swimming and all this kind of stuff. And it influenced me a little bit. But when I was doing the CBS Late Late Show, I mean, I got the legend Tony Hawk on, who liked me, and I offended him because I'm like, I don't like skateboarding. I'm walking down the sidewalk in Santa Monica, and these guys are there, and I got a forearm. Get away from my knees and ankles, man. Like, I didn't like skateboarding. I had Kelly Slater on. I don't like surfing. Am I a snob? Do you care about skateboarding or surfing?
I did a little skateboarding. It was a fun little subculture to be part of in high school. I enjoyed it. But surfing, I never really did too much of. I would love to get you, Tony Hawk, and Elvis Costello together for like a dinner where you guys could just kind of work it all through, you know?
Okay, here's the one. Soccer.
Yeah. I never played it. Never played it
around the world.
I know. I don't want to offend anybody.
Yeah.
I never played it growing up. I guess I'm kind of a dumb American. I just, I have a lot of friends in London. There's an office in London. I go over there. I've seen, I went to a Chelsea Newcastle match. It was amazing. I've gone to the football. I like it. I know a little bit about the Premier League. I can talk a little bit about it. And I get why people like it so much. I just, World Cup comes around. I think it's exciting. I think the World Cup's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it is exciting. I don't watch it much. What throws me off, because I like basketball so much, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson's sleight of hand. Dr. J had the biggest hands in basketball, would palm the ball, and no one can use their hands except the goalie. So I'm missing out on all this great hand-eye coordination. And Brahma beer, I think is what it's called, down in South America is really popular too, but I'll take the Bordeaux.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way. That one of the things that's cool about hockey and basketball is they're moving so fast. They're either running fast or skating fast, and then they're able to do this stuff at the same time. The pass, and it's happening so fast. But you're right. They're moving, they're throwing, Anyways, if you grew up with soccer, I get it, or football, right. I get it.
Bothers me that Steve Nash probably likes soccer more than basketball. Drives me up the wall.
Is he a hockey fan coming from Canada?
Probably. He's from Vancouver, BC. Just bothers me. At least he had a high free throw percentage and field goal percentage.
He was a big Morrissey fan, Smiths fan.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, he was. That's right.
You told me that.
You're right. Okay, we're going to wrap it up with the Life Gorgeous quiz. This is kind of fun. You ready?
Yes.
This is good. You pulled two stories out of me, Hank. The Elvis Costello one and then the basketball. He's better than you. He's better than you. Feeding the post. Kilborn's better than you. It was very dramatic.
Yeah.
Stu Starner was the head coach. I don't know if I said his name. Life Gorgeous quiz, simple questions, profound insights for Hank Perlman, the co-owner of Hungry Man, the commercial company. They have offices in New York, London, Los Angeles, South America. I want to say Rio or Buenos Aires. Rio?
We actually have one in Rio and in São Paulo, but yes, Brazil.
And am I missing anything? Any other country? Am I missing any? No?
No.
Not in Canada, not in Europe besides London, not in Paris, France, not in Ferney-Voltaire. I was in a small town called Ferney-Voltaire, right on the border near Geneva.
Beautiful, I'm sure.
Okay, first question. Worst singing voice.
Ooh.
Worst or worst singing voice? Worst singing voice, Lou Reed, Bob Dylan. Go.
Does it have to be a short? I just have to answer. No, it's just...
I'm being obnoxious. I'm doing my Hank. I'm being my poking Hank.
I think a voice is about how you get a song across. It's not about like how beautiful it is or the pitch or the timbre. Like
clearly,
I think Bob Dylan has an amazing voice.
Right. Bob Dylan has a better singing voice than Lou Reed, who kind of just talked. Tangled up in blue, tangled up in blue. That's a good song, by the way. My brother loves Dylan.
That is a good song.
He loves him. And he's appreciated him more now, years later. He goes, I really like, Dylan. So there you go.
Maybe he'll come around to Morrissey one day.
Yeah. After a cocktail, whose face would you rather stare at? Brad Pitt or Leo's?
Brad Pitt.
Oh, I take Leo as the correct answer. More mysterious.
Oh.
He's seen a lot more. I don't know what that means. These are the questions I have. It's so funny. We talked about all these games. Who would win in a wrestling match in their prime? Forget the age difference right now. In their prime, Wayne Gretzky or Aaron Rodgers? Wrestling match. I saw your face.
I want to say Wayne Gretzky, but I think Aaron Rodgers would.
He would kick his ass. Yeah. He would do from the top rope. No,
Yeah.
No, I'm acting like it's pro wrestling. No, it would be Greco-Roman or whatever. I don't even know what Greco-Roman is, but is that what you did in high school? Or
there's collegiate style wrestling, which is what you do in high school. Then there's freestyle wrestling in the Olympics, and Greco-Roman. Those are the two types of wrestling in the Olympics.
What was Andre?
He was Greco-Roman.
I'm sorry.
Most Giants. No, the Giants were usually Greco-Roman.
Okay, this is a great last question. I've been doing this. This is why I just love this question. I may never get tired of it. And I hope I didn't do it with you before. But it's a food question. 3 favorite sandwiches. What are Hank Perlman's 3 favorite sandwiches?
I'm going to start with one that I know is very polarizing, which is a tuna melt.
The
tuna melt.
It's on my list.
It's
on my list. It's my top. Can I say? Okay, I'll tell you after.
No. You go.
No, because
I like to make tuna melts.
I'm going to step on what I might step on a second one if I can't say anything. I'll tell you what happened. But go ahead. I love
to make tuna melts. I think the tomato is very important. I have a way of I heat the bread. I start to toast the bread. Then I put the tuna on. Then I put the tomato. Sometimes a little bit of onion, and I make the tuna a certain way. But I think a tuna melt can be just amazing.
So I have a couple friends, and this is their response. This is like Ryan Russillo. Well, you better not go back to the office after a tuna melt. Like, it's too strong of a smell, like that kind of thing. He did this. He did the same thing with red onions because I like red onions on different sandwiches. You better not go back to the office.
Yeah, I also have
Hank owns the office. Hank can eat whatever he wants.
I also have friends who say, "Oh, I hate tuna should never be hot. Tuna salad should never be warm or hot. They don't like tuna casserole." I have friends who specifically say, "Oh, hot tuna." Ugh.
Yeah,
but I think it works. I like tuna casserole.
I think we're allowed to occasionally slap a friend when they're obnoxious.
Yeah,
Stacey Wall. Ugh. Oh. If he says Iverson one more time in my presence. Okay. 3 favorite sandwiches. You said tuna melt. You got 2 more.
Gosh. I had a Cuban sandwich recently and it was amazing, but I've
heard of those. Is that pork? Is that carnitas?
Yeah, there's some pork. There's some pork on there. But pickles too. The pickles make the Cuban sandwich. Have you ever had I'm forgetting the name now. A muffaletta sandwich. It's a New Orleans specialty, muffaletta. I was just thinking of it as pickles or olives. But anyways, muffaletta is a great sandwich. But sorry, if like Desert Island, I still love a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I really do.
Okay, so no one has said that, and there are people that almost said it. When I was a kid, I find it boring, so I don't list it. But I would do this. I would put butter on it and put it in the pan and make a hot peanut butter and jelly or grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's more fun for me. But you've kind of nosedived after the tuna melt. Are you struggling to come up with 3?
No, I love egg salad sandwiches. I mean, I'm trying to be creative, but my favorite go-to sandwiches are tuna melts, egg salad sandwiches. I love a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I think in New Orleans, I love po' boys. I like a shrimp po' boy.
Right.
I like I've had really good seared. You're thinking classic. I mean, I love Italian sandwiches.
Right.
There's not that many sandwiches that I don't like. Are you going to name ones like I'm predicting? Are you going to throw something in there like a chicken parm hero or a meatball hero? Because I don't really.
No, those are not sandwiches. Those are not. No.
Good.
But you just glossed over. You did say egg salad. I love egg salad. So I really enjoy those. Here are my original 3. The first one was very easy. And only one other guy said it, Michael Costa, who's a former tennis player, now comedian. The Reuben.
Yeah.
I love Reuben's. I like sauerkraut. I like it on, you can put it on marbled rye or pumpernickel. I like them on both. Love it, love it, love it. I like chicken salad sandwiches. You can have it with walnuts or grapes. You can have it with apple in there. I like it with the cheddar cheese, red onions. I just love chicken salad on rye. I love it. Had one 2 days ago. Also had a tuna melt at Billy Reed's in Palm Springs the other day. And then I named my third. So I did Reuben, chicken salad, and tuna melt. And then Princess Cherry said, what about a grilled cheese? I go, you're right. I'm taking off the tuna melt because I love grilled cheese. Campanile over here used to be Campanile. Now it's Republique. They had grilled cheese night. Yeah. When they would have all the different cheeses, they put maybe a little ham on there sometimes. So what do you think of grilled cheese?
I think it's a great sandwich. I think kind of like what you were saying about peanut butter and jelly, it's such a staple grilled cheese.
Yeah, it's so obvious. Yeah,
my mom would make, I would have so many grilled cheeses. I feel like tuna melts, I get more excited about it. If you said,
so my instinct, my instinct to stay with, to stay with tuna melt is the way to go. But we go to these nice gourmet restaurants and they have grilled cheese. It's like pretty cool. The one that I've never had that I've said I'm going to have in my last 5 years of my life in my 80s, I've never had a Monte Cristo.
I don't think I have either.
It's deep fried.
I'm not. Yeah,
it's like ham and cheese, deep fried, and it's like pretty intense. I thought they would serve those down in Orleans.
That's not like a croque monsieur.
I think it is like that. I'm going to look that up. Maybe one of your
listeners can tell us.
This was a joy. We covered a lot.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah. Make sure this summer, Yamame, make sure you call me. Let's stay in touch. I just wanted to say Yamame. Thank you, Hank.
Yamame. Go Timberwolves.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, that was my friend Hank Perlman. That's our show. We will see you next time. And remember, young people, I'm proud of you.